Good morning. Welcome to ePortfolio Tip of the Week. I'm Tammy Fraley, and this morning we're talking about the personal introduction page, the second page of your ePortfolio. The personal introduction page could look a little bit like this. This is a sample ePortfolio that we have out on the SPCC website. This student has an image, and then she has some text. She includes her name, and also she has student and hard worker under her name. If you want to have, like a keyword there, about yourself, that would be fine. It's really up to you. Having a picture of yourself is also up to you. The student uses an image. If you use an image, just make sure it's relevant to you, and something that you have talked about on the welcome page or something that you're getting ready to talk about in your personal introduction. The purpose of this page is to give us some insight into your life as a student, as a person, and as a future professional, but you don't want to get too personal. You want everything to be relevant, to your career and to your future work, and of course what you're doing now, at South Piedmont. So anyway, just stay focused on, yourself and how it relates to your future. Include the following pieces of information. These are really important parts. You want to balance text, images, and video. If you have a video, you definitely still want to have some text to go along with it and explain it. If you have an image or two, you definitely want to incorporate discussion of the image into the introduction. If you use images from websites that are not yours, of course you want to cite them properly. You want to include a background statement about yourself, and it needs to be in light of who you are today and what your goals are. Focus on who you are now and where you're going in light of your studies. Include your academic and personal interests and any information that illuminates who you are and how you approach life. If you've had hardships, you want to discuss them in light of how they've helped you, what you've learned, and that kind of thing. In addition, you want to provide an academic profile, and please include the parts of your academic history that are most relevant or significant to your journey. For instance, if you dropped out of college before, maybe you weren't a very good student and now you're a really good student, you could explain that part of your story that helps us to understand what changed you from being the lackluster or unmotivated student to the great student that you are. You also want to include your learning style. If you don't know what it is, you can go to educationplanner.org and select the Learn More tab under Students, and then select Self-Assessments to take the What's Your Learning Style quiz. Take the quiz and then use the results to consider how you learn. How does your learning style affect the way that you study or the types of courses that you take? For instance, if you are in therapeutic massage, you more than likely are tactile or hands-on. You need to learn by doing. Well, that makes a lot of sense, based on what you're in school to learn how to do, therapeutic massage. So you see what I'm thinking about here? Introduction tips. Keep the rhetorical situation in mind. That is your audience, your purpose, your stance. Remember that your audience consists of many different viewers. You'll have administrators from the college. You'll have college professors. You will have future employers, admissions teams from other colleges possibly looking at it, scholarship teams, your family, your friends, and just many different groups of people. So think about that. And also think about your purpose. Your purpose is to show your best work, in the best way that you can, to show what you have accomplished up to this point. Better introductions connect to the welcome page of the ePortfolio in some way by using, a keyword or a common theme or something, to keep that transition or that interconnectedness going. The length of the personal introduction, I would say it should be at least 3 paragraphs or more. You don't want to get too lengthy, but you don't want to just have like 3 sentences. We need to know more about you than that. And also make sure that you use the conventions of standard written English, punctuation, grammar, sentence structure, etc. More tips. Okay, please keep the purpose of your ePortfolio in mind and use personal information that showcases your academic and professional strengths. If you have had challenges, which many of us have, use them to highlight your growth and what you've learned because of those experiences. Be creative. If you want to use a metaphor for your learning process, throughout your ePortfolio, this would be a place to explain it. If you want to use a quotation, in your personal introduction, or if you used one on your welcome page, reference back to that and tie it together. If you want to do something else that's creative, go for it. Do anything that helps us to see who you are, as long as it relates to your academic and professional purposes. Okay, and this list of, what to include, don't just do, the list, one by one, and then just sort of plunk it into the ePortfolio page without revising or editing it. That is not going to be a good thing to do. Okay, start your personal introduction page by generating ideas. Take the list of, what to include and start writing. It will be messy, it will be disorganized, but just go through the list of ideas and just write down pieces of your experience as you think of them. For instance, this morning I was thinking about a song that was on the radio when I was working on my first degree. Every time I would hear that song, it seemed like I was going to class, and that motivated me, to continue really trying, and to remember that every class that I took was one step closer to my goal of being an English teacher. So you might think about, things like that have happened to you. Once you've written, several paragraphs, read through it and look for an organizing sentence or main idea that will help you shape the writing. Revise the introduction using this main idea or sentence. I know this seems time-consuming, but it really won't take that much time, because what you're doing at first is just a free write. Okay, once you revise the personal introduction, read over it. Okay, do viewers get an accurate depiction of who you are and where you're headed? Okay, are you really telling us something that we need to know that helps us to understand your motivation, who you are, and where you're going? Have you revealed key insights about yourself without getting too personal? You do not have to get personal in this introduction, but you do need to tell us things about yourself that we wouldn't readily know. Did you connect with a key word or an idea stated in your welcome? That's always a good thing to do for unity and continuity. Ta-da! You're there. You have a personal introduction. Now edit it very carefully by reading it aloud. I know it sounds corny, but it works. You will pick out the grammar and the punctuation errors and the word choice, not necessarily errors, but the word choice changes that you might need to make. ePortfolio workshops this week. We're having a workshop on reflection on Wednesday, September 30th on the OCH campus from 3 to 4 in Building A, room 311. There's an introduction to ePortfolio Thursday, October 1 on the OCH campus from 2 to 3 in Building A, room 310. There's an introduction to ePortfolio on Thursday, October 1 at the LLP campus from 12 to 1 in the Horn Library in the Academic Support Center. There's a general education workshop on Friday, October the 2nd on the OCH campus from 11 to 12 in Building A, room 303. There's an introduction to ePortfolio Friday, October the 2nd on the LLP campus from 11 to 12 p.m. in the Horn Library in the Academic Support Center. And then finally, there's a reflection workshop on Friday, October the 2nd on the OCH campus from 2 to 3 in Building A, room 303. Do not forget that the ePortfolio is a graduation requirement if you are in the 2014 SPCC catalog or 2015 catalog and graduate with a diploma or degree in May of 2016 or later. You are required to complete an SP ePortfolio to graduate. If you want more information, please call me, Tammy Fraley, Director of Academic Enrichment Programs, and there you will see my email and my phone number. For ePortfolio coaching and assistance, we have ePortfolio assistants who can help you in the academic support centers on the Monroe or the LLP campuses, and here is the information for you. Thank you.